Hey everyone, welcome to the last week of DC-Cember as we discuss the last roster villains from Justice League. So let's finish this up and get started with the holidays with our number 10.
Dr. Destiny, what do you think?
You're crazy.
Skeletor. How did he get on the list?
He's, for some reason, the first one that comes to mind on like a visual basis. He's just really cool looking. Obviously, he does look a lot like Skeletor, but at least Batman thinks for some reason that Mono looks more like Skeletor than Dr. Destiny does.
Yeah, it's funny enough, since at the same time there was that He-Man show.
Yeah, I watched a lot of that on Toonami. I think it was either right before or after Justice League on the scheduled daily schedule.
Lineup.
Yeah,
I had Dr. Destiny pretty low on my list, but he was still there just because he's a very significant Justice League character. He was one of the first villains they ever fought in the comic books, though he did not have his skeleton face until later.
I see. I have Dr. Destiny as my number 3, and I don't remember why he's that high, but I think that I do really think his episode is a standout because it's very creepy, especially the whole. Now that I'm a doctor, I think I'll perform some surgery, and then his face just falls off. It slides disgusting sound effects as it comes off, and it's just it's like what Freddy Krueger could be if there wasn't like the silly element. But then again, it's a guy in a big costume, so I don't know. He does a bunch of silly things in the episode regardless. I'm just glad they got to dedicate a full 2-parter to this character. Not everybody got that same treatment, so yeah.
I love the intro where he's like hanging out with the Injustice gang and he's just daydreaming that he's one of them.
That was always fun.
Now that I think of it, he's like a more twisted version of Sid the Squid, someone that wants to be a big shot and gets powers.
I guess, yeah.
He just wanted any power.
His episode is kind of like what a Scarecrow episode might have been if of the Justice League show, but they gave the more supernatural, like actual powered character instead of just like I've got gas.
Yeah, I would say here this would be someone that could go toe-to-toe with Martian Manhunter, both physically and mentally.
I thought it was cool that they dropped the first like hint of Hawkgirl's secret origin in this episode, at least the first big one, of like they can't get into her mind to save her, and it's kind of a testament to his powers that he could get into her mind to do this nightmare for her. So yeah,
it's hard to say like with his powers if he's on the same par as Martian Manhunter's, but then again he's willing to go really further in regardless of how it affects her psyche, whereas Jean obviously like he's more careful when it comes to like his friends' memories or other people's. But I guess that begs the question, in the comics, his powers, was it all based on like going to people's heads and, bringing their nightmares to life in them, or was that something DCAU specific?
Yeah, no, he'd do that. That was usually his main thing in the comics too. But later, his powers were not like a self-inflicted experiment, like how he was like, okay, I'm just gonna do this. Like he hopped to that chair and flipped the switch on himself. Whereas in the comics, he has this red ruby. I forget what it's called, but it's like this dreamstone thing that he wears as an amulet, and that gives him his powers.
I do like that Dr. Destiny is like most villains are just doing their thing, and then the Justice League gets in the way. He like from the start is just like, I'm a random, just normal guy, but I really wish I could kill the Justice League. And then he gets powers, and then, okay, I'm going to do that now.
Yeah, that's right.
Not many people just sitting around going, man, I really just hate those guys for no reason. So, yeah.
I like that he comes back so much in the final season of JLU also, as he's just part of Grodd's.
He's just in the background, yeah.
Legion of Doom, Secret Society, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, though I guess with his powers, I guess he can physically make himself look his way, like, because at least in his initial episode, I wasn't sure if it was like his costume was like a physical manifestation or just only in the dreams, whereas in reality he's still just a John D.
Yeah, I bet in reality he looks like John D, but he's created this almost hologram around him that people can only perceive him that way.
when Batman's punching him in the face, it's kind of flickering away as you see him underneath. So yeah,
that's right.
But then when we see him in Grodd's, that he just looks like that. Like he's either projecting that the whole time, or he's deteriораted into a skeleton man from being locked in his own nightmare.
You
or whatever.
Can't live that way.
Look at Blight. What are you talking about?
Well, he's got skin. It's just radioactive.
I suppose. Okay.
But yeah, it's great for him. Like, I guess the way he's on the list is that even though he's the first, I guess, villains to really take out the heroes first before doing anything big, it's I guess for his motivation and character, it's like nothing really different than what we've seen with villains before.
There is the element where, like, he gets you in your dreams, so you don't want to go to sleep. And I think that's what makes the episode so memorable, is Batman just fighting the urge to sleep.
Adrenaline rush wearing off? Good. The doctor will see you now.
Now for number 9, Kronos.
David Clinton, inventor of the Chronosuit, at your disposal.
There is a phrase, time travel is for immortals and fools.
Which one's he? Not immortal.
I think it's the latter, yeah. I feel like he would be higher up if he was the version of himself from Justice League Adventures, because it feels like that Kronos is a lot more like the episode he's in, I think, has a lot more impact on people's memory of the show and stuff like that than any of his issues do. But the couple issues he does get of Justice League Adventures, he's in his much more Silver Age-y classic costume, and there's a lot of heart to those issues. Not necessarily the first one where he's got them stuck, but the
second one where he comes back as an old man.
Yeah, he's got his like infinitely replicating selves. He's trying to save his brother, I think, from a burning building, and he just can't do it no matter how much he does.
It's a team up between the Flash and the Atom, I believe. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a really good issue, and I feel like that was something sort of missing for, like, why I think he's this low is like it's sort of missing from, we don't really get to know him too well, but what we do get of him is very good. It's very he's just a loser, so he doesn't have like a lot. This version of him doesn't need a lot going for him. He's just trying his best and usually failing. If he fails to keep the timeline from rotting, so yeah.
And like, obviously it's such a fun episode because we get to go back to the Jonah Hex time and then to the future to Batman Beyond, which is one of the coolest moments of the whole show.
Yeah, this is like one of the few episodes where they really connect all the shows together.
Yeah, B-Task for the Jonah Hex appearance, and obviously Batman Beyond, Return to Joker. For,
Static,
Yeah, Static's back in there too. And
we just needed a Zeta somewhere in there. But I think both the 2, 9 and 10 here are like almost on there more for their episodes than the characters specifically. Like you just get a lot of really good moments or crossover things happening and stuff that's just surrounding the character, and it's not necessarily like, oh man, I really loved Kronos as a character in JLU. It's more like the once and future thing. Those are really good episodes. So.
Right. Kronos itself has the potential to be like the DC's Kang the Conqueror, and like on occasion kind of goes there. But there's another time travel villain that fought the Justice League called the Lord of Time, Epoch, the Lord of Time. And he's like maybe more of the Conqueror type than Kronos is. Kronos, he's the time thief. Kronos is all about just stealing stuff from the past for his collection.
Pretty much. Like he didn't seem like a villain in his first appearance. Like all he wanted was just to take Batman's utility belt. But then after being spotted, he went back to the past to Jonah Hex, got kidnapped by a criminal gang, and that was pulling the timeline. But then, quick as surprise, he overpowered Batman and managed to muck up the future. But through this episode, we got to see that Warhawk is Green Lantern and Shiera's son.
That's true. That's a big reveal.
But I think Kronos, like Dr. Destiny, is also very like just a normal person that once he gets too much power, he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna do like way too much terrible things with it. I really love the you feel like he's not really a bad guy. He's just kind of a victim of circumstance in the first part. And then the turn happens so quickly where he's like, oh, Batman, you just press this button here. And then Batman gets electrocuted.
Or maybe I'm lying.
You could have written that better, but it's almost better that you didn't.
Or how about his line when he sees the fabric of space and time
Pretty.
falling apart? But I'd say as far as for how both those villains suffer, I think Kronos had it worse, being stuck in a time loop forever, or at least maybe not ever, depending on how you guys have written out that part.
I was just gonna say
We did do a Legacies thing.
despite Kronos being not super impactful like as by himself in the show, he has a lot of potential that we're trying to pull at for the comics. So yeah,
I like Kronos.
Yeah.
I like a good time travel villain.
He may not have made much impact as a villain, but he gave some hope for John and Shiera shippers.
I'm Warhawk, Rex Stewart.
Your mother? Who is she?
Kind of obvious, don't you think?
Thanks for watching. Stay tuned as tomorrow we'll continue with our list for the week. Also, be on the lookout for the upcoming Multiverse fundraiser on January 20th to the 22nd of next year. And click on the link to check the newest series, Anonymous, at their website and see its first 2 episodes for free. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content, as more will come on DC-Cember.